And bra, say the United States of America ambassador to Ghana. Idea say we frasia wodi enkomo na ni nyina no has to do with a year LGBTQ plus ene eho enkomodi a ekoso. Now she's giving an indication say the bill I know the private member bill at the parliament say say Ghana yanhwe ye niema ye na ye pass bill no ama ebeye mra in the current form idea say sanctions bebre na no ana ebetimi aba. Sanctions no may include other product or product Ghana yetimi export edeko US abrochimemu. They may want to put restrictions or ban on us. Na afe etimi abwa. They believe say as I said human rights will be a freedom and in the far who no yetimi edemano na the opesu wo yebia no watimi aye. Enti ora mame aye Virginia Palmer anana edisa nkomo na ohwe enkomo na wodi na a lot of Ghanaians are not in support of a year womo assertion no any the rationale womo pese at all costs womo epushi a year LGBT na afein so Ghana say yen ntumukra na we need to relax our laws na allow say womo so ebetimi atena my name in a very peaceful manner. But in that effect the United Nations Human Rights Commission invited the Honorable Member of Parliament for a year Ningo Prampra Rasam George say womra na womuntie na no dinsem esan say wono anaye the front runner at the private member a year bill a what parliament say na they needed to understand the reason tia ababedrum pempenso eti say ya Ghana. Some of the members of parliament decided say one more ebe sponsor bill say. In a response to that, Rasam George outlined a near who do any bebre I dare the HPP face even the United Nations and their own human rights conventions agree to the fact to say when it comes to sex a bear money or bar and then the family setup originally they agree say as I said bembe biano etimi enya ne hokane na edo na betimi aboa ma the family values etimi ewiepeye na aye adwumaye. And it is virtually in contradiction to the US ambassador to Ghana eka ma yenkona yentie Rasam George na yebra.
Thank you very much, and all protocol duly observed. As a natural born man, a charismatic Christian, a husband of one woman, a father of 3 children, and an elected member of Ghana's parliament, I hold the role of the family extremely sacred. I believe that the right to found a family and determine same is a right that accrues to everyone within the context and spirit of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and several other recognized international treaties like the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. 75 years after the UDHR, the spirit and letter are more poignant than at any other time in our history. At a time in our world where supposedly progressive forces are agitating for a redefinition of the core principles of what a family is, and represent in a somewhat regressive manner, the genuinely progressive voices like those in this room must rise in defense of family, its values and protections. The concept of the natural family is under attack, 92.9 on the spirit of the Declaration of Human Rights. Let me be clear here and now, sirs and ma'ams. There is a distinct difference between sex and gender or gender identity. The pseudo-war being waged by some against the family is premised on this obfuscation and literal obliteration of the distinction between sex and gender. Sex is a biological construct that transcends race, ethnicity,
Kessben,
religion,
92.9.
Sex is binary. You're either male or female. God determines this at the moment of conception. A fetus carries either the XX or XY chromosome, determining whether it is born female or male. From my beloved Ningo Prampram constituency in Accra, Ghana, to New York, and Rio de Janeiro to Madrid or Delhi to Perth,
Kessben 92.9.
Gender or gender identity, on the other hand, is a social construct that has evolved on the peculiarities of various societies. From the onset matching the binary nature of sex, we see different recognitions of gender today across the world. There is no universality in the concept of gender or gender identity, and it is highly fluid. And as such, gender or gender identity cannot form the basis for any rights accruing in a covenant, a convention, or international treaty which seeks to be globally acceptable as binding because we have different interpretations. This is the basis for my avowed position that the letter and spirit of the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights is apt and meets the needs of our global world today. It emphasizes in Article 2 the rights and freedoms in the declaration, and is clear that there shall be no distinctions made based on sex. Yes, it says sex, not gender or gender identity. This is a definite position and must be defended by all progressive forces. The UDHR in Article 16.1 makes yet another actual position that I cherish and implore all of us to hold fast and dear, that the right to marry and found a family shall be between men and women of full age, without prejudice to their race, nationality, or religion. Yes, it says men and women.
Kessben 92.9.
Yet again, this is another reinforcement of the principle of sex and not gender. As a proud African, Article 2 of our African Charter on Human and People's Rights also echoes the principles of enjoyment of rights without prejudice to sex and not gender. As Africans, the role of the family is cardinal to our society and its well-being. To reinforce this, Article 18 of the African Charter recognizes the family as society's natural unit and basis.
Kessben
It imposes a
92.9.
responsibility on member states in the African Union to protect the physical health and morals of the family. Yes, it said morals of the family. It declares the family as the custodian of morals and traditional values recognized by the community. The Charter says there is no ambiguity here, that the values of family as a union between a natural-born man and woman must be protected by all of us. Against this backdrop, together with 7 of my colleagues in Ghana's parliament, I'm sponsoring a private member's bill titled The Promotion of Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Families Values Bill 2021 in Ghana's parliament. In conclusion, I reference the critical role that a family plays in the development of society through the development, education, and upbringing of children. Article 18.3 and 4 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights declares respect for the liberties of parents and legal guardians to ensure their children's religious and moral education in conformity with the convictions of the parents and legal guardians. This right is not given to an educational board or a pressure group or a government. It is the sole right and preserve of parents in the family. Ladies and gentlemen here in gathered at the UN headquarters in New York, the family must remain respected and recognized as the union between natural-born men and women of full age who have the right and responsibility to determine by their beliefs and in conformity with the generality of their community.
Kessben 92.9. Asidankwa. Kessben 92.9. Asidankwa. Kessben 92.9. Asidankwa.
And see, that is the Honorable Sam George Ningo Pram Rashebi Janino at the UN headquarters in New York at Wodisa and Koboy. Now, the simple and any TT and it's in fact, Ababe here say the friend of Busiano Yetime Bohobai. Na Oshe a year we say ama men including the United Nations ejitum say family adia your friend no ebusia adia ehuhia pa the gender aspect say obi person dane ne ho oba at the time our ye be man doesn't come in at the beginning of creation, and with the XY chromosomes even in science, it is either your hormones are developed as a man or your hormones are developed as a woman. In circumstances, it missy say will be a hodoma where hermaphrodite any dia keka. But regardless, the generality of it, including the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights, states how important the family system is in our traditional setup. Whether you are in Europe or you are in Africa, in fact, the UN DHR has supported the argument for a man and a woman coming together to form a family. And it is equally same and one no uphold the per the dictate of our 1992 constitution no any said ye Ghana ye culture ya mamre any yen hyehyɛ ne yen tie ni nyinaa no esitie no ɛno nti ana wɔne ne nuano ma aka sponsor bill no now no is in sharp contrast to a year the Virginia Palmer a as an ambassador no represent the USA in Ghana, indicating to us say in the current form no bill no etieno we risk a lot of investment. And then again, one more export in Yamahudu Pinano Edico US no. I mean there may be sanctions a bit me apply should we go ahead say ye bit me aje the current bill no at the atom under this current circumstance. And those are the two major things ever. What it means, and it's the homosexuality discussions. Any bill from 2021, ABC neya yedi hon komwe, and that's what Parliament committee no you file no. I mean, it is equally important say as a country we bring a close or finality to those matters. So Parliament ebe pass rano and also say one more impasse regardless. I mean, we need to find an amicable solution to some of these issues eba a war international dynamics na a war a lot of interest for a year countries one more a year world to do na one more ana yeda one more at all costs say one more betimi aboa yen e wo yedada brabo aye bo say o mai mu. My one na